So on the drive, I would be playing with a Win 2 or a Win 1 ball, so either like a beer ball or with a berserker ball. So for those that do want to play free to play, then you play a berserker here instead. The drive has been tested with that. I'm trying to mirror to get 13 in wind if ultimate. I'm starting with the blue ring to the right by the rough line at max, and then I'm adjusting max plus 10 P5. I would try to avoid pulling a lot of 1159 because that will be a problem when you push up then. Here we push up 8 rings in this angle. And we're gonna push up 7 or 8 rings is what we're gonna do. Max top spin and 2 left spin when it comes to a POC 7 and a POC 8, or all the clubs should be having max top spin. For Apocalypse level 6 users, we would recommend to push up the same amount as we will suggest for Apocalypse level 7. The reason for that is the slightly lesser top spin, and we do want to make sure that we do get the same type of distance. Apoc 5 users, we do recommend the layup option that will be up into the that will be posted in the Telegram chat as well, and also in the guide. We haven't tested with an Apoc 5, but obviously with a top spin boost you could try and mirror this type of outcome. Again, you can play with a berserker ball or you can play with a beer ball. Obviously make sure to be consistent with your push up in terms of like we need to push up slightly less in more tailwind. And you know, we need to push up slightly more if we have more headwind and more crosswind than what we do have here on the video. On the second shot, we're gonna do a fringe check where the fringe meets the green with our B52, so make sure to have the B52 packed even though we will not play with that club. 3.5 top spin, and we're looking to have no side spin, so we're removing that. Now, the important part here is the tip of the ball guideline to be consistent with our landing spot. So we're gonna use the tip of the ball guideline to be there, just 2 green squares short of pin, but pointing obviously straight towards the pin. The reason we do that is due to the fact that we do have a tailwind and we don't want to come in too hot. Now, take a look at the far distance. You can see the bright and the darker flowers. Obviously it's dark due to the shadow covering the flowers, but let's call it dark and bright. If we are inside the bright part, then we're gonna do no tweaks whatsoever for wind angle. But if we are into the dark part, we're going to have to do tweaks, which is 2 clicks of right curl, because more tailwind would push the ball less right, and therefore we need to compensate and use the 2 clicks of right curl there. Dead center for a nice little Albatross here on hole number 3. The adjustment, we have our base at +4 fringe check with the B52 is 62% slider, plus 30% elevation, P5 numbers. Get the guide on patreon.com/golf-tommy. So on hole number 3 here, option number 2, which is for those that do have Apocalypse level 5 or worse clubs than that, or just don't want to take the risk on option number 1, because unfortunately there is a risk on option number 1, but it will also reward you if you do the drive correct. This is more a drive where we are going to play up very safe, and we're going to have an eagle locked in with an outside chance of an albatross. Start at max blue ring by the rough line. We do that with rock 8 and rock 9. We don't do any push up because we do have room. Adjustment is max plus 10 P4, and we're using 3.1 backspin and 1 left spin. Bounces nicely center fairway, great ball right and left are fine, and you can see here that we do have room to roll even more if we would be making a mess with our pull angle. We're looking to get to around 340 yards playing with a luminary, as we're trying to keep this option free to play. On the second shot, we are always going to find max distance here with our sniper. We're going to use 2 left spin, and now the tricky part is to find the correct top spin. You will notice here that I'm messing around a little bit. Obviously we're going to have to leave the ball guideline short because the rollout will be long, but I would say here, to go with 4 to 4.5 bar top spin, depending on how far you are driving here. And you can see 3.5 top spin is what I'm using here, but I do think the 4 bars of top spin would be better when we are so short of our drive. So we add the top spin, 2 left spin, ball guideline pointing towards the hole. Then we're gonna always adjust max plus a 35 P5 from max line. Obviously when we're so far up here, it's gonna be necessary with wind angle tweaks, which is going to be even more difficult when we come to play with such a high elevation. So I would say this type of shot, see it as a eagle, like being locked in with an outside chance of an albatross. But this is once again a shot created for those that do have lower level clubs or not willing to take any risks on the drive, because the drive on option number 1 does have an element of risk, and we wanted to create this option for you, for those that do once again not want to take the risk. Get the guide on patreon.com/golfclashtommy.